But Hercules is my favorite movie, aside from obvious reasons. You know, it's a boy hero story. Hercules is my favorite Disney movie of all time because of the simple fact that it's so profound. Like, look at the deeper message inside of Hercules. Yo, this kid, this boy that was a misfit, was literally the son of God. God created him as the strongest of all gods, and treachery happens. He ends up on Earth. He ends up displaced. He ends up in a place that's a foreign place with people that don't appreciate his vibe, with people that don't appreciate his energy, and he has to go above and beyond to prove his worth to not only the world, the people around him, to himself, to his coaches, his teachers, his parents, but he got to prove his worth to God. You know what I'm saying? That's literally what Hercules is about. Him earning his place up by God's side. It's really like Jesus if you think about it. You know what I'm saying? Hercules can almost be likened to Jesus. The Son of God, cast down into the mortal realm, had to save a bunch of people and do a bunch of miracles, had to fight the devil, because Hercules and Jesus both fought the devil, and then had to, by the end of it, regain your power, you become a god again, and you up there. You feel me? So it's like, it's deep. It's deep, man. Like, the story of Hercules is real deep. Tell me how hard is this? My way, oh, I can go the distance. I'll be there someday. This song, if I can be strong, I know every mind. Christina will be worth my while. I would go most anywhere to feel like I belong. He felt like he didn't belong because he was great and people around him didn't understand his greatness, so he was a misfit in their eyes. You know, he was a target to them. He was stronger than everybody else, but because he didn't understand how to articulate that strength, how to use his strength, he ended up breaking things around him. As much of us do. You're so powerful, you walk inside a room and you offended somebody without even knowing it. You just broke their demeanor, you broke them, and so now they dislike you. Now every time they see you, oh, I don't like her, I don't like him, I don't like that person because of how they made me feel. And sometimes when you shine bright, you make other people feel small, so they come after you. You know what I'm saying? And even deeper than that, in the movie Hercules, just by his very existence, is such a threat to the devil's plans that the devil has to go out of his way to stop this person from being a hero, stop this person from going and pursuing their destiny at all costs. That's your story. Hercules' story is your story, whether you believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? It's just raw. Let me see. I don't know why the comments disappear on the phone. I do love his story. Excellent breakdown. I can't choose one soundtrack. They're all great. Now they're all good. Not as deep, but in the movie, Hercules was wearing Air Hercs, a Nike Air Jordan since the movie came out in 1997, peak of Jordan's popularity. Even that's a bar. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, even that's a bar. You're preaching, sir. Nah, I'm telling you, man, like, this is what I be going into. Now, I got into the habit, I be streaming on Big O Live now, so every time I go on Big O Live, like, I just be streaming up again in my bag. I'm on Big O Live from 6:30 to 8:30, just streaming for 2 hours, doing all the same talk right here. But, man, I always had a connection to the Hercules movie. I was like, bruh, first, he's just strong. He's strong as shit, but he's also young, he's naive, he's immature, he doesn't understand how to use his strength. But I just felt this, like, deep connection to that movie since I was a kid. Mainly because I like just seeing a kid go from being weak and misunderstood. They called him a loser. They called him Hercules. They kicked him out of his town, essentially. And he was just a misfit, which, yo, we could all relate to. At some point, we all misfits. But then he said, yo, bro, I'm going to go and tap into my destiny. He became aware of the fact that he was a god. He said, yeah, but just because I let you know that you're a god doesn't mean that you get to just run heaven right now. You're a god, but you got to pretty much subdue the earth. You got to prove it. You got to earn it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference. Myron Golden on YouTube, he says, there's a difference between your appointing time and the time that you get what you want. Like, oh no, your anointing time and your appointing time. You could be anointed for something on one day, but you're not going to be appointed to that position until you go through the trials and tribulations. Like Joseph in the Bible. Joseph had a dream that his brothers all bowed to him, and he woke up the next day, he told his whole house about it. Stoddy man was good, bro. He woke up, he told his whole house about it. And his brothers were so jealous that they tricked him, they trapped him, and they sold him into slavery. And he went through hell and high water. He became a slave, he became a servant, he became a prisoner, and then he became second in command of all of Egypt. And when he was second in all of command of all of Egypt, his father ended up dying. His brother, they all did come and bow to him eventually. And his brothers were so nervous that he was gonna seek revenge after the father died. He's like, look, we know dad died, you're gonna seek revenge on us. He's like, yo, bro, look, I don't want revenge on y'all. You guys meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. It's like, yo, Joseph knew what his destiny was when he was a kid, but he didn't know he was gonna have to be a slave, he was gonna have to be a servant, he was gonna have to be a prisoner, he was gonna have to learn how to develop his skill, which was learning how to interpret the dreams. He was gonna have to interpret the Pharaoh's dreams, and then he was gonna get a job. He didn't interpret the Pharaoh's dreams, and then the Pharaoh just said, you're a rich man forever, don't worry about nothing. Nah, he got a job off of that. He was like, okay, cool. You interpreted my dream, here's a job. You're second in command of all of Egypt, you're gonna be in charge of getting all our supplies for the 7 years of famine. And he just bossed up, you know what I'm saying? But it's beautiful because that's what Myron Golden says on his series. He's like, there's an appointing time, there's an anointing time and an appointing time. You're anointed when you come to self and you know exactly who you are and what you was meant to be. But you're not gonna get appointed to that until you go through the trials and tribulations. And it's so beautiful because I can liken that, and I can liken what Myron Golden teaches about that, you know, biblical principle to the movie Hercules. You know what I'm saying? Hercules was a misfit, he was out of control, he was going through it, but then once he became aware that he was a god, he still had to go earn it. So he went out into the streets and he found a trainer, he found a mentor. Christine, this is amazing. The Hercules, you could really dissect it. Yeah. Hercules went and found a mentor, he found somebody to train him, he found allies, he went out and he had to prove himself. After he got his mentor, his financial coach, because she's a financial coach, he had to go out into the world and he had to prove it time and time and time again. He had to fight a bunch of monsters. He had to keep going up against the devil, keep proving the devil wrong, and then finally, at the end of the day, against all odds, he ended up regaining his godly position. You know what I'm saying? Because he stayed down and he thugged it out. No matter how many years it took, no matter how many people he had to fight, no matter how many trials and tribulations or obstacles he had to overcome, he got to the next level.